is the heart. The part that you will see like immediately upon opening the cavity is the ventricle with the two atrium on the side. And then underneath the atrium you'll have the sinus venosus. It's a little triangular part right here.
It's kind of really hard to see right now.
Yeah, but if you just know the part right under the atrium is the sinus venosus, the atrium. And so the blood would come from the body to the sinus venosus, into the atrium, then the ventricle, then the conus arteriosus here, which is the darker region, and then up here it becomes the ventral aorta, which we'll see when we flip it over. So you want to make sure you know the blood flow through, and again, all of this blood that goes to the entire sheep heart is deoxygenated other than the blood that supplies the heart itself. And you can see some of the arteries here. This would carry the oxygenated blood to the heart itself, and those would be the coronary arteries. And then the blood that would go to the pericardial sac that you can't see because it's been cut through would be the pericardial arteries going to the pericardial sac. And then when you flip over here, you can see, again, you can see the atria right here, how they're connected. You can see the conus arteriosus, the ventral aorta, and these are the afferent branchial arteries, branchial with an N, because they're corresponding to the gills. And those would lead into the gills where the oxygenation would occur, and then they become the afferent branchial arteries here, are afferent, and those would go to the dorsal aorta, which is on the dorsal part.
Can you point them out again? I was focusing on the camera.
These are the efferent branchial arteries. So you have afferent and then efferent branchial arteries that go to the dorsal aorta, which extends all along this length here. And then whenever you're looking up here, you have the hyoidian efferent branchial artery. You have your internal carotid arteries here, the stapedal, which branches off of them. And then you also have your efferent and afferent spiracular ones, but you don't need to worry about those because they've all been cut through. But the main important ones are internal carotid, stapedal, and then hyoidian efferent. Very, very small ones you have right here are the paired dorsal aortae coming off right here. There's two very small. And then also you have the pharyngoesophageal artery, which is here. I cut off the esophagus. I cut through it here, and you can see where I cut through. But this would be the pharyngoesophageal artery. Another important thing to know is that you have pre-traumatic and post-traumatic branches, and those, when I talk about those, will be corresponding to the lamellae, where all of the oxygenation occurs. So this would be pre-traumatic, post, and then again, the space in between that you can't see because it hasn't been dissected, but it would be the collector loops in between the two. And then in the little tiny section I've cut off here, whenever you're looking at it, so these would be the traumatic constrictor muscles. The really short lamellae here correspond to the post-traumatic branch, and the really long ones correspond to the pre-traumatic branch. And you want to remember there's only 4.5 collector loops. For pre-traumatic branches, there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 4 post-traumatic. 1, 2, 3, 4, because you don't see any post-traumatic on the 5th branchial arch there. So that's why there's 5 pre-traumatic, 4 post-traumatic, and 4.5 collector loops. So it's important to know that. And then after that, we'll go through the ones later. You know,